Hello, everybody in LinkedIn land. Josh Kivenko here, Chief Marketing Officer at Vecna Robotics. Love that it's this time of the month, a week before our monthly webinar, Robot versus Wild, episode 8, I believe. And a familiar face joining us again is Rebecca Lee, our Senior Product Manager for at Vecna Robotics. Rebecca, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Josh, and thanks for having me again.
It's like a trend. Maybe every month we're just going to talk to Rebecca. She brings so much insight to how Vecna approaches different challenges in the warehouse and factories. Of course, last week we talked about what's wrong with case picking, and next week we're going to make just a massive splash to release some new technology in this space. So excited to do so. And we have a webinar on October 25th, so a week from today, like we always do. We do this LinkedIn Live, and then a week later we do our webinar. So we're just promoting our webinar on the 25th, 11 a.m. Eastern. You can hop on our website or look on our LinkedIn page for a registration form. It's all there. Don't worry about that. But with that, I've invited Rebecca to come and just talk a little bit about what will we be announcing and what will the webinar be discussing next week, really along the lines of what we did last month, but maybe a little bit more detail. Whet your appetite for our announcement for next week. So why don't we take a step back here, Rebecca, for a minute, and why don't we remind everybody what's wrong with case picking? Why are we picking case picking?
Yeah, so last month we had a webinar with Andy from Geodis, and we kind of explored all with current manual case picking, the issues that existed, right? So a few kind of highlights were the wasted labor and how it's a very human-driven process today, and the issues that occur as a result, like safety and kind of lack of uniform process and a lack of data and system level thinking. Right? So those are some highlights we talked about last month.
And I think anybody familiar with the space realizes, look, it's a human driven activity and there's obviously opportunity for innovation, right? Why did we decide? So let's run through, Rebecca spent a fair amount of her time here at Vecna trying to solve this problem and looking for ways to bring automation. But why don't we just talk to our LinkedIn audience here a little bit about why did we decide to approach this problem to begin with? Why case picking?
Great question. And I think anyone kind of who is a product manager who is familiar kind of with the process knows the innovation Venn diagram, right? So there's the desirability, feasibility, and viability that we have to test before starting an innovation project. So last month we already kind of talked about a lot about the issues, right? So I think it was very clear to us there was a real problem. There was real pain points in this industry that need to be solved. And the second question is feasibility. Is Vecna well positioned to solve this problem? Are we building our core strength both technologically and operationally? And I think the answer was really yes. Like we had all the pieces. We are really good at horizontal pallet movement with robots, and we're really good kind of at orchestration and supporting the robots in the field. And last piece is desirability. And this is kind of a cliche, but I think it's really important is, are we building a solution that a customer really desire? Are we making their life better? And I think now with a lot of robots actually running in the field, we're testing this. I'm positive to say kind of retrospectively, the answer is yes. But I think when we design the solution, we design it in such a way that we'll try to improve everyone's life, not just improve productivity.
Right. So, we had the pieces here and we saw an interesting problem that we thought we could tackle, and how we tackled that in the unique way that we've tackled that and how it differentiates with other folks in the market. Leave that to me next week, and that'll be really exciting to talk about. But for today, let's talk about just, I guess, maybe in loose terms, how we tackled the problem. And I think there's really one interesting insight that I like to talk about. I asked you to talk about today. Like, how did we break it apart and really think about tackling this problem?
Right. So I think as we alluded to in the last seminar that one kind of fundamental the thing that we have to change fundamentally about the case picking workflow today is breaking apart this one-to-one association between the associate and a pick list. Every time right now, they can only process one pick list at a time. We have to break that, decouple them so that we can allow more optimization of the system.
Right.
So that was kind of one kind of guiding principle when we started tackling the problem. And the second piece was that we look at what robots really good at today and what robots are still kind of struggling a bit and what human is really good at doing. And we want to focus them on what they're good at respectively. And so that maximized the overall system value, right? So that was kind of the second guiding principle. And then the last piece is once we break them apart, the whole thing still have to run together, right? So designing orchestrations to allow the whole system now a little more fragmented, but still work seamlessly together.
Right.
So I would say those are kind of the three guiding principles we had when we start thinking about tackling this problem.
Right. Which is fundamentally the magic of technology, right?
Mm-hmm.
Breaks down the problem into fundamental parts, right? First principles, and then builds it back together, and perhaps in a familiar way, perhaps in a little bit of a different way, and that's really exciting. What I guess maybe give folks a glimpse into the future. What surprised us a little bit in how we pieced together a solution, and as we were going through with prospective customers in our development, and we've been very well. It's been very well known, and we've promoted the fact that we've been working with Geodis on this, one of our partners. What surprised us in assembling a solution here?
Yeah, so I think when we started out, the goal was to really augment labor, right? Like make labor more productive and safer and all that. But I think one surprise was when we have a system like this that can orchestrate both human and robots, we get data. We get so much data that are valuable on its own, right? Like with a manual operation, you don't get insight to where your people are at all time and what they're doing, what they spend time doing. And I think that reveals so much optimization opportunity, continuous improvement. And I think that was really a surprise to us and also surprising benefit, like a bonus to our customers.
Yeah. I am really bullish on that as well. And as we'll announce next week, there's a lot of facets of this technology. Rebecca and others will go through it and in detail about how it works and who it benefits and the target profiles and all those things, which will be really interesting and exciting. But I think we feel very confident today, just letting you know that this solution is really going to help transform operators, warehouses, factories to a certain extent, if they do this kind of case picking. To become data-driven operations, right? At very least for this workflow, which is really interesting, right? And that really does change the specter about how you think about your operations in the future, with millions of touch points that are now being digested and that can be analyzed to drive continuous improvement, but also find opportunities for innovation.
Exactly.
So there you go. Rebecca's got all of it lined up for us on a silver platter. We can't wait to announce a new approach to case picking next week with you all. And please register for our episode 8 of Robot versus Wild, titled A Unicorn in the Wild, because we think we found a case picking unicorn, thanks to Rebecca and all of the engineering team and product management team at Vecna Robotics. So join us October 15th, 11 a.m. Eastern, and we'll see you all next week.